Welcome back to Vintage. I'm playing Suska. In today's video, we're going to be building up a brand new pedestrian, not complex, but services in terms of what they know in terms of physical activities and public transit. And then I also put in its path for the nature reserve, and then I also put in a brand new development for our city. And so I first started off kind of with the nature reserve. I put an exit off our highway here. And I just went up the mountain. Instead of doing some sort of industry or something like that, I decided to do that. And I felt like it turned out pretty nice. I didn't do any sort of details. That's what we'll do in the near future. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. And I would definitely recommend doing what I did in terms of just how the road go winding up the side of the mountain. And I did just go through and clean it up too with some tools and stuff. Nothing crazy, just an excavator just to get rid of any big things. And I just relocated our tram main building, I think it's called, something like that, to a different spot just because we wanted to build here. And then I got to work on our new little transit hub, and I use and the reason why I used a gondola is because I didn't want to use buses since they would clog up our roadways, and it's too steep to use a light rail train. So instead of doing light rail like the rest of the map, I decided to do a you know what I'm trying to say. I completely just lost my train of thought there, but cable car. So I did this instead. A lot of cities in Latin America, especially really hilly ones, have these cable cars. They're just super cheap to put up, and they can deal with hills a lot better than any other mode of transit. They just don't have crazy high capacity, which will have that same problem, but it's fine. And then I started to do some road work in here. And I also put in some parking lot for this new little transit hub here. And after I got to work on that new little transit hub, after that I then got to work on our, well, it will be a nature reserve. I didn't put in the actual nature reserve yet. I just did the access road for it and path. So I've been wanting to do this for a little while in terms of having nature reserve inside this little dormant volcano. I think this is supposed to be, or crater, whatever it is. But so I just put a big parking lot at the bottom of the hill for the people that want to walk up, and then there was a dirt road that goes up. There's also probably some people whose cars just can't straight up go up the hill. That's what the parking lot would be there for them too. And then once you get up the hill, you can enjoy the beauty of it and go into the nature reserve that will be up here. But that'll be something we'll do in a future episode. And then I just brought our pathway up over here and just a dirt path, nothing too crazy. It would purposely be pretty cheap. Not many people would be using it, and it definitely wouldn't be most well maintained in terms of having tons of people going over it and also getting a ton of investment put into it. And I also put a path that splits off into towards the water. Then I started to put some commercial and some just ploppable buildings in here, or unique buildings in here just off the highway, just kind of bring in some more people into here, and to bring in, like I said, more people, and then also just bring in some more money for the people around here. And then I also put in some homes too, just to help increase our people living in the city around this area, and just in the city in general too. And then I got to work on a low-density residential area. These homes would be quite expensive, kind of like the area closer to the water or the ocean, but they wouldn't be as expensive. And so I put in the roadway, and then I also put in homes or zoned them in. It isn't a big area, so everything kind of grew in pretty quick. I did put in some temporary wind turbines just to get power to everything without needing to put in any sort of power cables. And these homes also have a pretty good view of the river, so definitely a nice advantage. I also want them to have the same kind of style with the mid-century modern as the other expensive homes, so I went with that. And then I got to work on laying down the groundwork for our next half of this area, or this district of Paradise. So pretty much I just got our tram line down and also one of the border roads in. And so our tram line here just comes down off of its dedicated main line, then it joins in with a big avenue road and just goes along it. Nothing much else to say about that. And then it goes along it for a good amount, and then that road then splits off to then rejoin with the highway. And then I had it then wind up the side of this hill here. Because of it being a pretty steep grade, they would need to wind it up the hill. But eventually it would get over it. And then since our local can turn around in terms of our local light rail train line, I did put in a turnaround loop just to help turn it around, and then I put in the stops and some small other stuff in this area too. And like I said, I did put in this little bit of a border road. It kind of just goes along the very base of the hill that our nature reserve will be inside of, the crater, volcano, whatever it is. And then I put in some small little bits of commercial, at least a start, and then I got to work on this temporary area for our tram depot. Nothing big, but here's the final product. I do hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe. Do the next one. Bye!